You don't belong here. I want to see a room key.
I am a guest. Back away from
Sir,
her.
step away from her now.
The camera on the phone shook slightly, betraying the tremor in the hand that held it, but the lens remained focused. It captured the crisp blue water of the hotel pool, the elegant lounge chairs, and the terrified face of a 9-year-old girl. But mostly, it captured the voice, a voice that dripped with authority, contempt, and the absolute certainty that it would be obeyed. A voice that said, without saying it, that some people belong in paradise and others do not. What started as a humid Friday evening at the Royal Palms Resort near Houston was supposed to be a celebration. It was supposed to be a memory of joy for a mother and daughter who rarely had the luxury of escape. Instead, it became a collision between dignity and power, a confrontation that would peel back the layers of a corrupt police department and end with a verdict that no one saw coming. This is the story of how a single mother, armed only with a smartphone and the truth, took down an officer who thought his badge gave him the right to rule the world. It is a story about the cost of standing your ground when everything inside you screams to run. Before we step into that pool area and witness the moment everything changed, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from right now? We have a community of justice seekers from all corners of the globe, and I'd love to know where you are. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you believe that accountability should apply to everyone, regardless of the uniform they wear, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are building something important here, and we want you with us. To understand the weight of that Friday evening, you have to understand the journey that led to it. For Maya Thompson, the Royal Palms Resort was not just a hotel, it was a victory lap. Maya was 34 years old, a woman whose life was defined by the relentless, unglamorous grind of survival. By day, she wore scrubs, working as a phlebotomist at a busy urban hospital, drawing blood from patients who were often scared, angry, or in pain. She was good at her job, gentle, efficient, and endlessly patient. By night, she traded her scrubs for a uniform of gray polyester, cleaning the towering office buildings downtown. She emptied trash cans, vacuumed acres of carpet, and wiped down the desks of people who made more in a month than she made in a year. She did it all for one person, her daughter, Chloe. Chloe was turning 9. She was a bright, observant child who loved science and swimming, though she rarely got to do the latter. For 7 months, Maya had been secretly funneling money into an envelope taped to the back of her dresser drawer. $5 here, $20 there, overtime shifts, holiday pay, skipping lunch. It all went into the envelope. The goal was simple: 3 nights at the Royal Palms. It wasn't the Ritz, but for Maya and Chloe, it was a palace. The website promised a resort-style experience, featuring a sprawling pool with a waterfall, a complimentary breakfast buffet, and rooms with balconies overlooking the gardens. Maya had booked it months in advance, calling 3 times to confirm the reservation. She wanted everything to be perfect. She wanted Chloe to feel, just for a few days, like she was the most important girl in the world. They arrived at the hotel at 3:30 p.m., the heat of the Texas afternoon shimmering off the asphalt. Chloe was vibrating with excitement. She wheeled her small pink suitcase through the automatic doors, her eyes wide as she took in the lobby. It was grand, with high ceilings, polished stone floors, and a massive floral arrangement in the center. "Is this real, Mama?" Chloe whispered, tugging on Maya's hand. "It's real, baby," Maya said, squeezing back. "And it's all for you." Check-in was seamless. The receptionist, a young man named Eric with a bright smile, welcomed them warmly. He handed Chloe a coupon for a free ice cream at the snack bar and gave Maya the key cards to room 314. He explained the pool hours, the breakfast times, and pointed them toward the elevators. There was no hesitation, no suspicious glances, just the standard hospitality of a business welcoming a paying customer. Room 314 was everything they had hoped for. 2 queen beds with fluffy white duvets, a flat-screen TV mounted on the wall, and sliding glass doors that opened to a view of the pool. Chloe ran to the balcony immediately, pressing her face against the glass. "Look at the water," she squealed. "It's so blue." Maya felt a knot of tension in her chest loosen. She had done it. They were here. The money was spent, the room was theirs, and for the next 3 days, the only thing she had to worry about was sunscreen and what time to eat dinner. They spent the first hour unpacking. Maya hung up their clothes in the closet, arranging Chloe's new swimsuit on the bed. They took pictures, selfies in the mirror, pictures of the view, pictures of Chloe jumping on the bed. They were building a fortress of memories, brick by brick. Around 5:30 p.m., the allure of the pool became irresistible. The sun was beginning its slow descent, casting long golden shadows across the property. The air was still warm, perfect for swimming. They changed into their swimsuits. Maya wore a modest one-piece and a cover-up. Chloe wore her new neon green swimsuit with ruffles. They grabbed their towels, slathered on sunscreen, and headed down to the ground floor. The pool area was an oasis. Palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the sound of the artificial waterfall created a soothing backdrop. There were about 20 other people there, mostly families. Kids were splashing in the shallow end. Parents were reading on lounge chairs, and a couple of teenagers were tossing a beach ball back and forth. It was the picture of suburban leisure. Maya found 2 empty lounge chairs near the deep end, close enough to watch Chloe but far enough from the splashing to keep her book dry. She laid out their towels, kicking off her sandals. "Can I go in? Can I?" Chloe asked, bouncing on her toes. "Go ahead," Maya laughed, "but stay where I can see you." Chloe didn't need to be told twice. She ran to the stairs and waded in, letting out a happy shriek as the cool water hit her skin. Maya watched her for a moment, soaking in the joy on her daughter's face. Then she sat back, opened her book, and allowed herself to relax. It was 5:45 p.m. The nightmare was 15 minutes away. Officer Bradley Stone was not a man who relaxed easily. Even on vacation, even with a drink in his hand, his eyes were always scanning, always assessing, always looking for the thing that didn't belong. He was 42 years old, a 14-year veteran of a police department in a wealthy suburb about 40 miles north of the hotel. He was staying at the Royal Palms for a weekend getaway with his wife, Jessica. They had been arguing quietly since they arrived, about money, about his work hours, about his inability to just turn off the job. Stone was a man who believed in order. He believed that the world was divided into 2 categories, the sheep and the wolves. And as a sheepdog, it was his duty to spot the wolves before they could strike. But over the years, his definition of a wolf had become warped. It wasn't about behavior anymore. It was about appearance. It was about who looked like they belonged in his world and who didn't. He was sitting at the pool bar, nursing a beer, when he saw Maya and Chloe walk in. His eyes narrowed. He watched them set up their chairs. He watched Chloe jump into the water. He watched Maya open her book. To anyone else, they were just another mother and daughter. But to Stone, they were an anomaly. In his mind, people like Maya, black, working class, unaccompanied by a husband, didn't stay at hotels like the Royal Palms. They stayed at motels. They stayed in their own neighborhoods. "Look at that," Stone muttered to his wife. "Look at what?" Jessica asked, not looking up from her magazine. "Over there, by the deep end. They don't belong here." Jessica sighed. She knew this tone. She had heard it 1,000 times before. "Brad, please, we're on vacation. Leave it alone." "I'm not going to leave it alone if they're trespassing," Stone said, his voice tightening. "They're probably locals sneaking in to use the pool. It brings the whole place down." "They have towels," Jessica pointed out. "They have a room key on the table. Just stop." But Stone couldn't stop. It was an itch he had to scratch. He stood up, leaving his half-finished beer on the bar. He adjusted his swim trunks, wishing he had his belt, his badge, his gun, the symbols of his authority. But even without them, he carried the weight of the badge. He walked toward the pool maintenance shed. A young employee named Tyler was skimming leaves from the water's surface. Tyler was 18, a high school student working a summer job to save for college. He was listening to music through one earbud, lost in his own world. Stone approached him, casting a shadow over the water. "Hey, kid," Stone said. Tyler pulled out his earbud. "Sir?" "You check those people over there." Stone jerked his chin toward Maya. Tyler looked. "Check them for what?" "To see if they're guests. They look like they jumped the fence." Tyler frowned. He looked at Maya reading her book, and Chloe, practicing her underwater handstands. "They walked in through the lobby doors, sir. I saw them." "You saw them check in?" Stone pressed. "I mean, no. But they have towels. They look fine." "They don't look fine," Stone snapped. "I'm a police officer. I know when something's off. Go over there and ask for their room number." Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "I can't do that, sir, unless they're causing a disturbance. My manager says to leave guests alone." "Fine," Stone spat. "If you won't do your job, I'll do it for you." Tyler watched as the large man marched toward the lounge chairs. He had a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach. He pulled out his radio to call the front desk, but hesitated. Maybe the guy was right. Maybe he was a cop. Tyler didn't want to get in trouble. Stone stopped at the foot of Maya's lounge chair. He stood there for a moment, blocking the sun, waiting for her to acknowledge him. Maya sensed the presence before she saw him. The light on her page disappeared. She looked up, squinting against the glare. A heavy-set white man in swim trunks was looming over her. His arms were crossed. His face was a mask of aggressive suspicion. "Can I help you?" Maya asked, her voice polite but guarded. "You staying here?" Stone asked. No preamble, no courtesy. Maya sat up straighter. She closed her book. "Excuse me?" "I asked if you're staying at this hotel," Stone repeated, louder this time. "Yes, I am," Maya said. "Why?" "Which room?" Maya paused. Her instincts, honed by years of navigating a world that often viewed her with skepticism, went on high alert. This wasn't a friendly conversation. This was an interrogation. "I don't think I need to tell you that," Maya said calmly. "Who are you?" "I'm a police officer," Stone said. He didn't have his badge, but he said the words like a weapon. "And I'm asking you to prove you belong here." The pool area had gone quiet. The splashing had stopped. The murmured conversations had died away. Everyone was watching. Chloe had stopped swimming. She was treading water near the edge, looking at her mother with wide, frightened eyes. She saw the man. She heard the anger in his voice. Maya looked at her daughter. She saw the fear, and something inside her hardened. She wasn't going to let this man ruin this. Not today. "If you're a police officer," Maya said, "where is your badge? You look like a guest to me." "I don't need to show you my badge to ask a question." Stone stepped closer, invading her personal space. "Now show me a room key or get out." "I am not showing you anything," Maya said, her voice rising just enough to be heard by the witnesses. "I am a paying guest. My daughter is swimming. Please leave us alone." "You're trespassing," Stone declared. He said it with such confidence, such absolute certainty. "You and your kid are trespassing on private property. And if you don't leave, I'm going to make you leave." Maya reached for her phone. Her hand was trembling, but she forced her fingers to unlock the screen. She opened the camera app. She hit record. "Say that again," Maya said, holding the phone up. "Say what you just said to the camera." Stone's face flushed a deep, angry red. He hated cameras. He hated the way they turned his authority into something that could be questioned. "Put that phone down," Stone ordered. "You don't have permission to record me." "I am in a public space," Maya said, her voice steadying as the recording began. "You are harassing me and my child. I am recording for my safety. What is your name?" "I'm Officer Stone, and you're creating a disturbance." "I'm reading a book," Maya countered. "You are the one screaming at a woman in a swimsuit. Now, back away from me." Stone didn't back away. He leaned in. "You think a camera protects you? You're nothing. You're nobody. You don't belong here, and everyone knows it." The words hung in the humid air, heavy and ugly. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew, just knew, that someone was judging you not for what you did, but for who you are? If you have, you know exactly how Maya felt in that moment. It's a feeling of cold isolation, even in the heat of the sun. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to stand your ground like this. The tension at the pool was brittle, ready to snap. Other guests were shifting in their seats. A woman 2 chairs down whispered to her husband, "Should we do something?" Her husband shook his head. "Stay out of it." He said he's a cop. This is how it happens. The bystanders freeze. The authority figure pushes. And the victim is left alone on an island. Stone looked around. He saw the hesitation in the crowd. He took it as validation. He turned back to his wife, Jessica, who was watching from the bar with a look of mortification. "Call the front desk," Stone yelled to her. "Tell them to get security out here. We got trespassers refusing to leave." Jessica didn't move. She looked down at her drink. "Do it!" Stone roared. Reluctantly, Jessica pulled out her phone. Maya kept her camera trained on Stone. "You are making a mistake," she said. "A very big mistake." "The only mistake is you thinking you can sneak in here," Stone sneered. "I see people like you all the time. You think the rules don't apply to you." "People like me," Maya repeated. "What does that mean, Officer Stone?" "You know what it means," Stone said. And he smiled. A cold, mirthless smile. At the edge of the pool, Chloe began to cry. Silent tears streaming down her face, mixing with the pool water. She didn't understand why the man was so angry. She didn't understand why her mom was scared. She just wanted to go back to the room. "Mama." Chloe whimpered. Maya's heart broke, but her resolve turned to steel. She wouldn't let Chloe see her crumble. "It's okay, baby," Maya said, not taking her eyes off Stone. "Just stay there. Mommy's handling it." The glass doors of the lobby slid open. Walking briskly toward the pool was a woman in a sharp navy blazer. This was Rachel Ortiz, the assistant general manager of the Royal Palms. She had been alerted by Tyler, the pool boy, who had finally worked up the courage to call. Rachel was 30 years old, a professional who had worked her way up from housekeeping. She knew every inch of this hotel, and she knew the guests. She had checked the logs before coming out. She knew exactly who was in room 314. Rachel assessed the scene in seconds. She saw the crying child. She saw the mother holding a phone like a shield. She saw the large man looming over them. She walked straight into the line of fire. "Is there a problem here?" Rachel asked. Her voice was calm, professional, but firm. Stone turned to her. "Yeah, there's a problem. These two are trespassing. I told them to leave, and they're refusing. I need you to escort them off the property." Rachel didn't look at Stone. She looked at Maya. "Ma'am, are you okay?" "I am a guest here," Maya said, her voice shaking slightly now that help had arrived. "Room 314. I checked in 2 hours ago. This man came over and started demanding my papers and telling me I don't belong here." Rachel nodded. She turned to Stone. "Sir, are you a guest at this hotel?" "I'm in room 205, Stone said impatiently. "And I'm a police officer. I'm handling a security issue for you." "We didn't ask you to handle anything," Rachel said. "And this woman is a registered guest. She is not trespassing." Stone blinked. The narrative in his head, the one where he was the hero saving the hotel from interlopers, glitched. "You better check again," he said. "She probably used a fake card. Look at them." "I have checked," Rachel said, her voice turning icy. "Ms. Thompson is a valued guest. You, however, are harassing her." "I'm doing my job," Stone shouted. "I'm protecting this place." "You are off duty," Rachel said. "And you are on private property. You have no authority here." Stone felt the ground slipping away. The crowd was watching. The manager was defying him. His wife was hiding her face. He had two choices: back down and apologize, or double down and blow it all up. Brad Stone was not a man who backed down. He pulled out his own phone. "Fine. If you won't do it, I'll get real cops down here. We'll see who's right then." He dialed 911. "Yeah, I need a unit at the Royal Palms Resort. I'm an off-duty officer, badge number 592. I have a trespassing situation turning hostile. Suspects are refusing to leave, and management is uncooperative. Send backup." He hung up and smirked at Rachel. "Now we wait." Rachel looked at him with a mixture of pity and disbelief. She turned to Maya. "Ms. Thompson, I am so sorry. You do not have to stay here. Would you like to go to the lobby lounge? It's air-conditioned and private." Maya looked at Chloe. The girl was shivering now, wrapped in a towel. "No," Maya said. "We aren't going anywhere. We have done nothing wrong. We will wait for the police." It was a gamble. Maya knew how police interactions could go. She knew that when the blue wall arrived, the truth often got buried. But she also knew she had the video. She had the manager. And she had the truth. The next 20 minutes were agonizing. The sun dipped lower. The pool cleared out as other families, sensing the impending arrival of law enforcement, retreated to their rooms. Stone stood by the fence, arms crossed, staring at Maya. Maya sat on her lounge chair, holding Chloe's hand, whispering reassurances. Then the sirens wailed. Two cruisers pulled up to the front entrance, lights flashing. The officers who walked into the pool area were not rookies. Sergeant David Miller was a 20-year veteran of the local force, a man with graying temples and a no-nonsense demeanor. His partner, Officer Elena Rodriguez, was younger but sharp-eyed. They walked onto the pool deck. Stone stepped forward immediately to meet them, flashing a familiar cop-to-cop grin. "Hey guys," Stone said, extending a hand. "Officer Stone, North Precinct. Thanks for coming. I got a situation here with these squatters." Sergeant Miller didn't shake the hand. He looked at Stone. He looked at Maya. He looked at Rachel, the manager. "Squatters?" Miller asked. "Yeah," Stone said, gesturing to Maya. "Refused to ID trespassing, becoming belligerent." Miller turned to Rachel. "Is this woman a guest?" "Yes," Rachel said clearly. "Ms. Thompson is a registered guest in room 314. We have her information on file. This man," she pointed at Stone, "has been harassing her for 30 minutes. I asked him to stop, and he called you." Miller turned back to Stone. The camaraderie Stone expected, the wink, the nod, the shared understanding wasn't there. "You called in a hostile trespassing," Miller said, "on a registered guest?" "She wouldn't show me ID," Stone protested. "I had reasonable suspicion." "You're off duty," Miller said. "You're 40 miles out of your jurisdiction. You don't have reasonable suspicion to demand a ham sandwich, let alone ID from a guest in a private hotel." "I know a suspect when I see one," Stone muttered. Miller stepped closer. His voice dropped, but it was hard. "Let me tell you what I see. I see a mother and a kid. I see a manager telling you to back off. And I see a guy who's about to catch a charge for filing a false report if he doesn't shut up." Stone's mouth opened, then closed. The reality of the situation finally pierced his bubble of arrogance. The local cops weren't on his side. Officer Rodriguez had walked over to Maya. She knelt down to be at eye level with Chloe. "Hey there," Rodriguez said softly. "Cool swimsuit. I like the neon." Chloe sniffled. "Thank you." Rodriguez looked at Maya. "Ma'am, I'm sorry about this. Are you okay?" "I want to file a complaint," Maya said. "I have it all on video. He threatened me. He terrified my daughter." "We can take a statement," Rodriguez said. "And we will document everything." Miller walked back to Stone. "Here's what's going to happen. You are going to go to your room, pack your bags, and you are going to leave this property. The manager wants you gone. If you are not off the premises in 30 minutes, you will be arrested for criminal trespass. Do you understand?" Stone looked at his wife, who was already walking toward the exit, head down. He looked at the guests watching from their balconies. He looked at Maya, who was still holding her phone. "This is bullshit," Stone muttered, but he turned and walked away. The threat was gone, but the damage remained. Rachel, the manager, came over to Maya. "Ms. Thompson, please let me refund your entire stay. We will cover your meals, anything you need." "Thank you," Maya said. She felt exhausted, drained of all adrenaline. "We just want to go to our room." That night, Maya didn't sleep. She lay in the dark, listening to Chloe breathe. Chloe had asked a question before bed that haunted Maya. "Mama, why did the bad man hate us?" Maya hadn't known what to say. How do you explain systemic bias to a 9-year-old? How do you explain that some people see your skin as a weapon? Maya made a decision in the dark. She wasn't just going to let Stone leave. He had tried to steal her dignity. He had tried to steal her daughter's joy. She was going to take his badge. The next morning, Maya sat at the small desk in the hotel room. While Chloe watched cartoons, Maya uploaded the video to the cloud. She typed out a detailed timeline of events. She found the contact information for a civil rights attorney she had heard about on the news. His name was Marcus Hale. He was known as the Bulldog in legal circles. He didn't take easy cases. He took cases that made headlines. Maya called his office at 9 a.m. on Monday. By noon, she was sitting in his conference room. Marcus watched the video. He watched Stone's face contort with rage. He heard the words, "You don't belong here." He watched until the screen went black. He took off his glasses and rubbed the bridge of his nose. "This isn't just harassment," Marcus said quietly. "This is a violation of your civil rights under color of law." He used his position as an officer, even off-duty, to intimidate you. He involved the state by calling 911. He made false statements to dispatch. "Can we win?" Maya asked. "We can do more than win," Marcus said. "We can make sure he never wears a uniform again." Marcus filed a lawsuit in federal court. Maya Thompson versus Bradley Stone and the city of Northwood. The suit alleged unlawful detention, harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and constitutional violations. But Marcus didn't stop there. He launched a private investigation into Officer Stone's history. What they found was a pattern. Stone wasn't a bad apple who had a bad day. He was a rotten tree. Over his 14-year career, Stone had 18 internal affairs complaints, excessive force, racial profiling during traffic stops, verbal abuse. In one incident, he had detained a black teenager for walking aggressively in a park. Every single complaint had been dismissed or resulted in a verbal counseling. The department had protected him. The union had protected him. The system had worked exactly as it was designed to shield the enforcers from the people they enforced. But this time, there was video. And this time, the incident didn't happen in a dark alley with no witnesses. It happened at a luxury resort in front of a manager with 4K video and audio. As the lawsuit gained traction, the video leaked to the press. It exploded. Millions of views in hours. The hashtag poolside prejudice trended globally. The city of Northwood tried to distance itself. They issued a statement saying Stone was off-duty and acting as a private citizen. Marcus Hale went on national television and dismantled that argument. Officer Stone identified himself as a police officer 5 times in the video, Marcus said into the camera. He used his badge number to call 911. The city trained him, equipped him, and retained him despite 18 warnings that he was dangerous. They don't get to wash their hands of him now. The pressure became suffocating. The chief of police in Stone's department resigned. The mayor called for an independent audit of all internal affairs complaints from the last decade. But the real battle was in the deposition room. 6 months after the incident, Bradley Stone sat across the table from Maya Thompson. He looked smaller in a suit than he had in swim trunks. He looked tired. Marcus Hale began the questioning. "Mr. Stone, can you articulate exactly what behavior Mrs. Thompson exhibited that led you to believe she was trespassing?" Stone shifted in his chair. "It was just a feeling. Instinct." "Instinct," Marcus repeated. "Did she run?" "No." "Did she hide?" "No." "Was she loud?" "No." "So your instinct was triggered solely by seeing a black woman sitting by a pool in a hotel you consider upscale. Is that correct?" "I didn't say that," Stone mumbled. You didn't have to, Marcus said. The video says it for you. Stone's defense crumbled. The city's insurance lawyers saw the writing on the wall. If this went to a jury, they would be destroyed. They wanted to settle. Maya had one condition. It wasn't just about money. I want him gone, Maya told Marcus. I want it in writing that he can never be a police officer again. Not in this city, not in the next town over. Never. The settlement negotiations were tense, but the city had no leverage. In the end, they agreed. The settlement was finalized 18 months after the incident. The city of Northwood agreed to pay Maya Thompson and her daughter $1.2 million in damages. But the non-monetary terms were the real victory. Bradley Stone was forced to resign. As part of the agreement, he had to surrender his peace officer certification permanently. He was placed on a national registry of decertified officers, ensuring he could not simply move to another state and get hired. The police department was forced to implement a new early intervention system that flagged officers with multiple complaints for immediate review by an independent civilian oversight board. 2 years later, Maya and Chloe are at a beach in Florida. It's another vacation, another celebration. Chloe is 11 now, taller, more confident. She runs into the surf, laughing as the waves crash against her legs. Maya sits under an umbrella. She watches her daughter. The trauma of that day at the Royal Palms hasn't vanished. Trauma never really does. It sits in the background, a shadow that occasionally lengthens. Chloe still gets nervous around men in uniforms. Maya still scans every room she walks into. But as she watches Chloe play, Maya feels something else. She feels the weight of the victory. She stood up. She didn't let the voice of authority silence her. She taught her daughter that their dignity is not negotiable. They used a portion of the settlement money to start a scholarship fund for kids in their neighborhood who want to study science. Chloe picked the name, the Deep End Foundation. Maya picks up her phone. She isn't recording a crime this time. She takes a picture of Chloe jumping over a wave, frozen in midair, suspended in pure, unadulterated joy. This story is a reminder. Power is intimidating. It is designed to make you feel small. It is designed to make you doubt your own right to exist in certain spaces. But power is fragile. It cracks under the pressure of truth. It crumbles when people refuse to be moved. Maya Thompson wasn't a lawyer or a politician. She was a mother who drew a line in the sand and said, "Not today." We have to ask ourselves, how many Bradley Stones are still out there, patrolling our streets, sitting by our pools? And how many of them are still in power because there wasn't a camera rolling? What would you have done if you were in that lounge chair? Would you have shown your ID just to end the conflict? Or would you have fought? Let me know your thoughts. And if you believe that justice is worth fighting for, share this story. The more we talk about it, the harder it becomes for them to hide. I'm seeing a lot of you in the comments sharing your own stories. Keep them coming. We read every single one. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and never let anyone tell you where you belong.